Hi, friends and family. I'm here in my backyard in Redding, California. It kind of looks like a jungle, but it's really pretty. There's some rose bushes, but it is fall, so it's starting to, the leaves are starting to fall off the tree. But I wanted to share with you guys about my El Salvador trip from last March. I know it's all the way in October, and I'm only just making this video. I'm embarrassed, but anyways, I knew I needed to do it, and I wanted to share. But I'm gonna it's gonna be a short video. I'll share like some of the top 5. What made it so hard to make this video is that every single day there was just so much that happened, and it was like I actually filmed a video and it was so long, so it was like I just had to pick my top 5 things that way, just to respect your guys' time so that it wasn't so long. But yes, let's get started. So my top 5 things that happen is, one, we got to go on do treasure hunts, which is when like a week before we went to El Salvador, we asked the Lord, like, who do you want us to meet along the way, and what do you have to say to them, like what do they look like, and so when we asked the Lord, I just by faith just wrote down a white truck. Like that was what I was seeing in my imagination. So I wrote down a white truck and like somebody at a coffee shop. And so we get to, this is a much longer story, so I'm only telling you a piece of it, but you can ask me more if you want to hear more. But we end up doing a treasure hunt, and we go on to find these people that we have on our sheet that we asked the Lord about. And I'm thinking, I'm like, I'm not going to find this, like it's a white truck, like, or a white car. I'm like, that's so vague, And as I'm thinking this, we're walking through a parking lot to where somebody felt like we were supposed to go. And a white car literally drives in front of me, almost runs me over, and parks right in front of me. And I'm like, oh my gosh, I couldn't believe that just happened. So I'm like, Lord, is this the person? Oh my goodness. So I walk in. It's at a food court. It's like a mall. And where I'm watching the people get out of the truck. It's a family of 4. They get out and they end up following me. Like as I walk around, they follow me everywhere I go. And I'm like, oh my gosh. And finally, in the end, like after like a 10 or so minutes of this, they end up going to a ice cream shop, and they sit down and they order their ice cream and they sit down there. And I tell my friend, I'm like, I think that's the person I'm supposed to talk to. And they're like, yeah, I was feeling the same way. And so I go in there with the interpreter, and I'm just so nervous. I'm like, oh my goodness. And we have to talk through an interpreter. So I start by saying who I am. And then the guy, the father of the family, it's a mom and a dad and 2 kids, he stops me and he says, I speak English. And I'm like, oh, okay. So I'm able to talk with him. And I say, we're here just to pray for people for healing, and just we want to encourage you. And you stood out to me. And I say, like, I didn't want to tell them I saw the white car in the beginning because I didn't want it to be creepy, but later on I ended up telling them. But the guy, he says, wow, it's actually my birthday today, and it's my anniversary, and my and he actually, when I said, do you need healing for anything, he's like, yes, my marriage needs healing. It's our wedding anniversary, and we feel like we're going to get a divorce. And but it was also his birthday too. So we were able to just pray for them, encourage them, and give them, my friend had painted a painting and gave it to them because she felt like it was for them. He cried because it was like the fact that God knew that he would be there a week ago. He knew what he was going through, that it was his birthday, his anniversary, and that his marriage was in trouble, and that God cared about those things. It was like a beautiful moment, and it was like, wow, God really, really does want to meet every person. The next thing that happened on the list is we went to a church, and it was called Locos for Jesus, which is crazy for Jesus, is what it means. And wow, so much happened there. But actually, on the way there, our team of interpreters, they're like, oh, I don't like, some of them are like, I love the church, but I don't really like going there because it's so crowded. It's so hot. You crammed into this little building. And that was indeed how it was. Like everybody was sweating, and it was like you couldn't even move when you were in there. But it was so beautiful because they were just worshiping, like with hands straight up in the air, just looking up, tears just streaming down their face. I wasn't there for like a second. I just get to the building and I start weeping, hearing the sound of them worshiping with like everything in them. It was so beautiful. Like their hearts are so beautiful. And some amazing things happened there with the kids. The kids ended up getting to minister to the adults in the room. It was just such a cool thing that happened. But for me, what happened is as I was sitting there, I closed my eyes and I saw like this picture in my imagination of a grasshopper, and I was like, it was a dead grasshopper, and I like heard, I felt like the Lord was saying, the ways of a grasshopper are death, but the ways of a giant is life. And you think you're a grasshopper, but you're not a grasshopper, you're a giant. And we went from that. When we left there, I ended up seeing like tons of grasshoppers. They have grasshoppers that are huge, like they're gigantic. And I didn't see one before that, but after that happened, there was a huge grasshopper everywhere I went, I would see these huge grasshoppers. And it ended up becoming comical because it was like, okay, God, I get it. I'm not a grasshopper, not even a gigantic grasshopper. I am way more than that, and I need to view myself differently. That I'm not, I'm not little and insignificant. Actually, and that brings me to my third moment, was actually the last night. Was they asked me I got the opportunity to be able to preach a little bit on the last night to a group of, to a church and in the mountains. And it was awesome, but I was freaking out the whole week because of this, and I was so nervous. And that was the reason why God told me, you think you're a grasshopper, but you're actually a giant. And so on the day that I had to preach, on the moment I'm going to have to walk up there, I'm freaking out. My leader comes to me, he's like, you're the right person because God chose you. You are, stop doubting and stop worrying about it. You are the right person. I'm like, okay, you're right, because I was freaking out. And right in that moment, a huge grasshopper lands on my friend. She in her hair, and she's flailing around and trying to get it out of her hair. And I feel so bad, but it was really funny. It was hilarious. I mean, in the moment it wasn't funny, especially not for her, but it definitely helped me just be like, whew, okay. The joy of the Lord just helped me so much. But my poor friend, it was hilarious. And I think some of the people in the room might have thought she was manifesting the Holy Spirit or something, but it was so funny. But anyways, I ended up getting to preach, and we find out that the group that we are preaching to are actually the women so in El Salvador, they have a new president there, and he ended up locking up all the gang members. He did a mass sweep of all the gang members, anybody affiliated with the gang members, and arrested them, put them in prison. It's a good thing and it's a bad thing right now, because some people are innocent in prison right now, but some are definitely guilty. But these, the wives and the girlfriends and the family members of these gang members don't have any provision. They don't have anywhere to go. So a lot of them are in this town that we were in, and the church is trying to help them take care of them. And so, but the message that I got to share with them ended up working very well with what they had gone through. So it just was really cool. So anyways, so that was the preaching. So that's number 3. Number 4, 4 and 5 kind of go together. Was my favorite thing of all time in El Salvador, is we got to go to the public schools in El Salvador. We went to 2 different ones and preached in, a lot of classrooms. We went to a bunch of different classrooms, more than I remember. And what I can speak for what we did. There's a group of four of us with the translator in the classrooms. The first thing we did was give our testimony. So I got to share my testimony first, and then the gospel. And then we did an altar call, and almost the entire room stood up saying that they would like to put their faith and trust in Jesus Christ and what he did on the cross for them, of receiving that free gift of salvation. And so that was amazing. And then we went to the next classroom. We did the same thing again. Almost the whole classroom stood up. Actually, I think maybe like one or two didn't. And even the teacher stood up to receive, put their faith in Jesus Christ and receive salvation. And we had some extra time then, so this leads me to the fifth thing, the fifth top moment in El Salvador. So yeah, as you can see, we could share about, like, they gave us full reign to talk about anything. We asked them, like, is there anything we can't talk about? And they're like, yeah, nope, talk about anything you want. And we're like, well, we're gonna talk about Jesus. And my friend, after we were done with the altar call, we had extra time, and he's like, I think we should pray for healing for people. And I'm like, these are high schoolers. How much can they have wrong with their body? You know, like I was a little nervous. And but we did. We said, like, does anybody have pain? And one boy was brave enough to say, yes, me. And so we prayed for him, and we had all the kids come around and pray, and we put out his legs. His legs were uneven. He was having back pain. His legs were uneven, so we prayed, and his leg literally went in and were even. And he was even shocked. He's like, I don't feel any pain. And he's like, I see that it happened, but I'm shocked that it happened, you know. So, and then we got to pray for, I think in that classroom and the next classroom, we got to pray for so many kids. And it was a really powerful time. And even have the kids pray for one another, too, in the next classroom. So, anyways, that's my top 5 moments, very briefly. Thank you so much for listening. And thank you for supporting me in having me go to El Salvador on this trip. I would go back in a second. The people in El Salvador, the Salvadorians, are such hardworking people, and they're so much like family. Like, they have so much love in their heart, and I just love them. And so I was so grateful to be able to go. So many God encounters, and it built my faith so much, and I was so grateful to be able to be a part of that. But anyways, I am going to be going on another missions trip. I don't know where yet. I think I'm probably going to be going to LA Dream Center. That is my top place to go at the moment. When I was reading the description, that is where I wanted to go so much. So, but I'll keep you posted on where I end up. And anyways, I love you all so much, and I'm so grateful that to have you guys as friends and just have your support and love. And yes, I bless you on your many adventures. Bye.